Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on The Woman King, starring Viola Davis, about a not a female king. There is no female king. It's queen. It's a weird turn of phrase. It means nothing, but it is a good story. There was an African tribe that was running out of men because they were at war with their other tribes, and they were also giving annual slave tribute to other people. So they were really short on men, and they ended up recruiting women into the army because there was no other choice. So based on, it says, look at this, based on powerful true events, not true events, powerful true events. Oh man, they must have wet their pants when they read this on Wikipedia. People in Hollywood. Oh my God, we could have women of color, and they're the bosses, and they do all the fighting. Oh my God, ah, woke overload. Well, it actually happened. I mean, some of it. I'm sure it's going to be totally exaggerated, but this is Hollywood, and so they're trained to fight, and they're the greatest warriors ever, and you know, they fight against the male white patriarchy, I guess, because all the Europeans are bad guys. So, I mean, it looks okay. I hate the title though. The Woman King makes no sense. The Woman King. That doesn't make any sense. So this is in movie theaters in September. So there's all sorts of. They say they're the fearsome female warriors to ever live. They called them Amazons because the Europeans didn't know what else to call them. That's probably what they should have called them. It's probably the name of the movie, Amazons. They weren't Amazons, but that's what they would call them, female warriors. So yeah, I mean, it could be a good movie. It just feels like it's going to be woke as f. It's going to be cringe dialogue, but I mean, the action looks nice. The action looks nice, but you know, and they do train, so that's something. It's good that they train. You know, there seems to be long training sequences here where they take the women and make them train. And they're weak at first. She tries to cut off the head of that dummy, and it doesn't work. And then another woman has to show her, and then they become fearsome warriors. You have to kill your tears. So it could be good. I mean, there's some nice action sequences here. There's an audience for this, certainly. I mean, there was an audience for Black Panther. So this is very similar, except it's Wakanda without all the wacky Marvel technology. And it's actually based on historical events. So I can see it. I can see it being a decent flick if it's not woke. But I don't know. That title is screaming woke to me. That's a terrible title in my view. But Viola Davis is a good actress. So it could be good if Hollywood just does a good historical movie that basically follows the events of their victories. I assume you'd want to focus on the victories of the characters, obviously, or at least the rise and fall. You'd want some rise. I mean, you wouldn't, if they were a total wash, you wouldn't want to do a movie about them. Obviously, they must have had some victories. So, yeah. Let's see if there's any more info here. Viola Davis, Hero Fines, Tiflin, Lashana Lynch, John Boyega, and that's it. So, I don't know. Could be good. Could be good. First act. The Europeans come. They're terrible people. They put the tribe or the country in a bad situation. They got to fight off the Europeans, but they're low on people because they give away too many slaves. Yeah, so at least they got that part of the story correct in that area of the world. So they're forced to recruit the women. They recruit them. Second act, they train and train and train. They have some setbacks, but eventually they start overcoming it and they start fighting the Europeans, and they get more and more fierce, and they beat the Europeans back, and then they have a great victory. Maybe the king is killed. I didn't read all of the historical events, so maybe the king is killed and Viola Davis has to take over as king, or pretends to be the king, or pretends that the king's still alive, and maybe they can. I don't know. Depends on the tribe. Like some tribes it wouldn't be an issue, but other tribes it might be an issue. She'd have to pretend that, oh, he's over there in that tent. He's not moving or breathing, but he's fine. But I know what he wants you to do. Something like that. But yeah, and then the end of the movie is a credit crawl. You know, the Amazons went on to many victories, or they were eventually defeated in blah blah blah. I think they were dissolved in 1904. The Wikipedia entry says, if that's reliable. So a historical thing. It's a little mix and match of what kind of ending you get, because if they follow history, typically history doesn't end in a nice neat package. So something like this, like the all-female regiment, would probably go by the wayside when there was no need for it anymore. Or the courses change, or they were conquered, or they conquered the other tribe that was bothering them, or they stopped handing them slaves all day. So I don't know. You'd have to read more about it, but again, I think it could be good. I'm highly dubious, though, of Hollywood's handling of subject matter like this without infusing it with woke politics and id-pol stuff. So I'll wait for... I'd totally wait for a critic who had seen the movie first before I'd go to see this. Like a real critic, one of the YouTubers, not one of the guys on like Rotten Tomatoes that will rave endlessly because he feels he has to, but somebody who would actually evaluate the movie. But that being said, assuming it doesn't have those woke politics in it, I think it could be a good movie. Yeah, I think it could be totally solid. It'll have action, it'll have excitement, it'll have a little bit of history. Viola Davis is good. It looks well coordinated. The stunts look good. The actors seem fine. They didn't totally make the women just run over the men. It looks like there's actually training involved. So could be good. Could be good. But we'll see. I hate that title. The Woman King. Coming to... when is this coming? Let's see. Do we have a date on this? I already forgot. September 16th. September 16th, at a theater near you. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Squirmy Little Joan, who won't sit still. Won't sit still. You want to sit over here and you won't sit still. I know. You're a good dog. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more based takes. There is a news blast. I'm not sure what the other video will be today. I don't have time for a Hollywood hot take. I was at Moods Farms all day. It was a great show. Thanks for coming out, by the way, to Moods Farm. Next signing is next week. I'm doing a thing at Glassboro. I think I'm doing a library talk. I don't know. Check my links in the book tours below. And we'll see you tomorrow.